audio. I have to say start video. Safaro, you're right in the way, silly boy. And it says it's recording too. Safoof is here. Safari is here. Oh, there's a big bright light up there, Safoof. I'm going to do a better job. But no, maybe not. Sparrow, you're joining in, aren't you? Yes. All right, so all of the pictures over here. Oh, look at Safoof. Safoof's joining in. Hello, AJ. Hello. Can you hear me? AJ, are you there? Hello.
Hey, Michael.
Good to see you. Here's my helper, Safari.
Oh.
So he probably won't enjoy what we're having, although I won't. He'll taste a little bit of almond milk, but nothing else. so tonight I will send this to you afterwards. But you and I are the only ones that are doing it tonight.
Oh, okay.
So this is going to be what I'm calling a hot spiced almond milk, or a festive healthy nog for the holidays. So we're going to try two different versions. It's very straightforward, very simple, and it's just the perfect thing for a warm evening. And then I recommend that you accompany it with something like nuts or dates, to have, like, if you were just having a little something before a meal to set your appetite in place, or to wait until after the meal and have it as a nice, finishing touch. Or if you're just cold and you want something to warm you up and you don't want to get, crazy or, interfere with your immune system with alcohol or something like that, because there's no alcohol in it. But it tastes amazing. So the first one. So what we're going to do is I'll just pivot to this my iPad here for a moment so you can see. Can you see the ingredients that I laid out?
I can't read them, but I can see them. Yes.
Okay, so I'll hold them up and I'll say. So to start with, almond milk is going to be the basis, and you could make your own almond milk, but it's easier to just do this because then you have to deal with it overnight and stuff. So I have
almond milk is my favorite.
Organic unsweetened almond milk.
Okay.
Then I have turmeric, ginger, and nutmeg. All of them are ground. I have a measuring cup. I have my own cup with a tiger on it, and a saucepan, a spoon to stir with, and then I use a little measuring spoon because we're going to talk about a pinch of each of these, which is between 1/16 and 1/8 of a teaspoon.
Okay.
So you just kind of keep that in mind. A pinch is between 1/16 and 1/18 of a teaspoon. Okay. So let me turn this back around. So the idea of this is, again, to have your ingredients, of course, but to talk a little bit about the benefits. Why I chose this, because we're in the fall, it's getting cold, and it's wintertime as well. And the idea behind all of this, first of all, it's warming, it's stimulating to the blood, and the blood is what carries the nutrients that when we consume, and it's also stimulating in the sense that not only do we get the nutrients into the blood, but it helps the blood just to be, warmer, which means it can carry more oxygen as well. But it builds ojas, so that vital essence that's inside of us, and it will support the digestive tract, and it impacts the organs of the stomach, the spleen, small and large intestine, liver, kidneys, and lungs. So it's pretty all-encompassing. And you notice we left a few out there, like the heart, but there is some relationship to the heart as well. But the main ones that it affects are these. And Safari is encroaching because he's very intrigued, apparently. So Safari, yes, you'll get your snack later. I know, you're like, I want to be in the limelight. So with regard to those health benefits. But if we speak specifically of the almonds, the turmeric, ginger, nutmeg, I've indicated what how they relate to the the benefits again. So just to say this, just to make a little commentary about the almond milk, it's tridosic in nature, so it means it's perfect for vata, pitta, or kapha. And I'm playing back and forth here between traditional Indian medicine and traditional Chinese medicine. Safari, let's move over to the other side here. Why don't you sit over here? Thank you. So the relationship, you can start to see some of the relationships between these two types of medicines. The almond milk, so as I said, is tridosic in nature. It's sweet, and it has a slight bitter taste, okay? So those would be the characteristics of it. Almonds help to alleviate coughs by shifting the mucus out of the lungs and down into the intestines, which is where we would want it to be so we can get rid of it. And so this becomes really important in this season, especially when people are thinking about, oh, the viruses and things that are out there. Well, any kind of fluid in the lungs is problematic, when it gets to be too much. So then it nourishes the vata dosha, because, the vata dosha is just all over the place, right? And the sweetness helps to calm the vata dosha, to bring it under control. And it's soothing to the nervous system. So here again, an opportunity to calm the nervous system down, get it to relax. Turmeric itself, and here again, I'll hold it up just closer to the camera, but it's warming in nature, bitter and pungent to the taste, and it specifically affects the spleen and the liver. And then we have ginger, which is, and a powdered ginger is more dynamic in the sense of it being hotter and more intense when it's powdered. If it was raw, then it would be a little bit milder and a bit different. But in its most intense state, it is powdered. Pungent to the taste, and it affects the stomach, heart. So here we have the heart, kidney, and lung. And if you're sensitive to heat, you want to be careful to using large quantities of this, especially if it's dried or in powdered form. Then we have nutmeg, which is aromatic in nature, and it's astringent to the taste, and it supports the spleen, stomach, large intestine, and helps to calm the nerves also. And then at the end, if you find that I like, when I make this nog this way, I don't like to use honey, but if you did want a little taste of honey in there, you could use honey as well, which is also an astringent. So astringent, but sweet. So it gives that little bit of sweetness. So the astringent part, and I put this also at the bottom of the handout, just a little bit about astringency. So astringent things affect the intestines and the nerves. So that's really quite nice. You think, oh, we want to calm the nerves, soothe them. We want the intestines to be healthy, so we can use things that are astringent. Bitter supports the heart and the small intestines while priming the stomach. So before we eat, a little something bitter in there helping to go down helps to get the stomach primed so it can then aid in digestion. Pungent, which benefits the lungs and the large intestine, and sweet aids the spleen and the stomach. So again, I put these specific tastes down here on the sheet you'll get as well. So each time we can kind of look at that and we can say, I see why these would be appropriate for this fall season, for the winter season, or if I had some digestive distress, or if I was stressed in my head, I might want to think about something like this. So the easy thing, again, very straightforward. So we have our pan. I'm going to take it over to the stove. And if you want to do it along with me, you're welcome to do it in your kitchen. If not, you can just follow along. And we are fortunate enough here, I have a gas range. So, and I'll use the back burner. It on, and I'm going to cut it to about medium-low heat. And then I will shake my almond milk, because I like to shake the almond milk. And I have a measuring cup, because we're going to do, with one measuring cup, 1 cup of almond milk. And that will make 1 serving. And then into the pan it goes. Again, very straightforward, nothing fancy here. I'm going to move my iPad over so you have a better look maybe at the stove, which is where I'll shift things now. So I'm heating the milk. Now what I want to do is the first one we're going to do is just turmeric. So the milk is getting nice and warm. And I just say that once it starts to heat a little bit, it's nice to begin to mix in your spice. So in this particular case, I will get my little bit of turmeric here, and I'm going to do almost 1/8 of a teaspoon, not quite, but just put it in there. And the heat helps to release the flavor more effectively. And it looks beautiful, of course, this nice golden color. And then you can just begin to stir it around. You might start to see a little frothiness. On medium low to medium heat, preferably, because we don't want to burn it. And then occasionally stirring. And depending upon your stovetop, it may take you anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes. It might be 5 minutes. I say up to 10 minutes because sometimes those ceramic stovetops take longer, I find. But whatever it is, but you're just observing it and watching it. And you can even taste it with your spoon if you like. Say, oh, that sounds, quite nice. And the beauty of this as well is, depending upon your taste, you may say, oh, well, I like something a little bit, I want a little more sweet. So if you have a sweetened almond milk, then you will already have the sweetness in it. Almonds, as I said, by definition, are both sweet and slightly bitter. So the milk is just warming up here. Very nice. You can also add more turmeric. If you say, oh, I love turmeric and the flavor, I want a little more. And the heat also helps. I think it brings out the flavor of the almond milk quite nice as well. A little bit of the smoothness and the sweetness. So it's been going now for about 2 minutes. I think probably another 2 minutes and it should have a pretty nice batch. You perhaps also now, the nice thing about this, as I say, is that if you have yours on the stove, you've decided you're making 2 cups because you have friends over or something, or maybe you don't want to have a full cup, then you can, make 4 if you decide for 2 cups, 4 servings. But just adding the turmeric in as you like, and then if you feel like, oh, I think I want it to be just a little more sweet, maybe that little dash of honey. But I'm finding right now, have you tasted it yet to see what it tastes like?
I haven't tasted it yet.
Okay. I tend to like to taste as I go, so and check the temperature.
Yeah, I have one of those ceramic stoves, and it just takes forever.
It takes longer, I know. With the ceramic stove, it takes longer. So just, take your time. No need to rush. We have 30 minutes. We have 20 more minutes anyway. And so this is the first one. So you can, as it starts to heat, you'll see a little froth form. And again, you've got the beautiful color.
And do you put the honey in now, or do you put the honey in later?
Well, you could put if you think you want it sweeter now, put the honey in now. It's fine to put it in now. You just don't want to burn the honey. The honey's sensitive to heat, so you could burn it. So you can either decide if you think it's going to take a lot longer on your stove, wait and do the honey after you're finished.
Okay.
And then you can just put it in and stir it in the cup. That's how I would do it. But again, just take your time. I know I'm not sure if I should see my head probably as opposed to just the stove. So mine is really pretty nice now. And let me see if I can tilt this a little bit. But you can see maybe into the pan a little bit beautiful frothiness and kind of a nice little yellow.
Yes.
And I'm going to now put it into my, you know what? I don't have a glass one, so I'm gonna have to do it into the regular cup. So I'm gonna put it into my tiger cup. Set my pan in the sink for a moment. So here I have this amazing elixir now that is so nutritious, and it's nice and warm. And to me, you know, I used, as they say, almost an eighth of a teaspoon of turmeric. It has just, I think, the right amount of turmeric for me. Now, I might say this one, because I'm using unsweetened almond, isn't that sweet. So let's just say I decide, okay, I'm going to put just a dab of honey in, and like just a tiny bit. There we go, 1 drop. Not too sweet. And then again, I'm going to stir it. So I'll just put the honey in, and then I'm stirring it, and this will help to make it even more frothy. You can think about, you know, as you're doing this, you know, it's quite fun to make it. You're back to being in chemistry school again, or in a chemistry class. Yes, and I did just a tiny bit of honey. You know, you might want to put more honey in if you like it more sweet. So for me, I'm not too keen on extra sweet. I like a certain amount, but not over the top.
Mine is just now starting to get frothy.
Okay, good. So you can test it and see what you think. In terms of sweetness, I might just add a little more dab of honey in mine, just because I'm seeing if I can get. So I probably put 2 more drops of honey in. The beauty of this is then you can just stir your cup. And this is the turmeric one, so we still have 1 more to go. Now I have just that little bit more of a sweetness, which, as I said before, is very good to calm the nerves, calm the vata. So if you're feeling like all in your head and you've been, you know, anxious or agitated, this is like so nice. It's also very good for our pitta, you know, the fieriness. You would say you were in a bit frustrated.
Yep. Oh, this is really good.
Yes. Okay. So there's that one. So then I'm going to wash up my pan. I want the turmeric to be gone.
Okay.
So if you can, again, I'll just do this quickly. So the beauty of this is as well, for the holidays, you know, for the season, if you have people come over, or you're just you and your partner or friends or something are getting together, and you want a nice little beverage, something simple. In just a matter of 10 minutes, you can have this amazing, nurturing, immune-boosting beverage that everybody can enjoy. And you could, you know, almond milk is really wonderful for it, but say someone didn't like almond milk, then, you know, you could use coconut milk as well if you wanted. So here the pan has been cleaned. I'm going to get to my 2nd cup now of milk. And each cup, again, as I said before, equals a serving. So here's the step. Say that again.
And you're pouring almond milk again?
Almond milk again, yes. I'm using almond milk tonight. Just almond milk. Now, here I am heating the almond milk as before. I will get a new spoon. And as this pan begins to warm, I've set the turmeric aside, and now we're going to focus on ginger and nutmeg, and we're actually going to blend the two. And they will be exactly the same measurements, so roughly that 1/16 to 1/8 of a teaspoon is quite nice with both. And so as the milk starts to get warm, then I will decide to add in the spice. And if you happen to have the spices, handy, it's also quite nice to just take a little whiff of them and you get a sense for, oh, that's amazing. And the respective properties. Good, so you're working on your second cup as well. Enjoying the heating of the milk. And I think mine's starting to get nice and warm. So I'm going to get the first little bit of ginger. And again, probably closer to 1/8 of a teaspoon for me. And the same is true of the nutmeg. I like nutmeg very much. And bring out a second cup. So as this starts to heat, again on medium-low to medium heat ideally, so that it's just a nice steady. Remember, during the fall and the winter, we want to cook things a little slower, a little longer, so not that flash cooking sensation. And that allows for a kind of a nice gentleness and a release of the nutrients. And the beauty of this too is once we have done it, then we can have the 2 cups side by side. We could do a sample and see which one you like best. You could also do this with cardamom. If you were a big cardamom fan, you could just do one with cardamom maybe. And maybe a little honey then. Or you could mix the cardamom with, say, ginger. Or perhaps even some turmeric. But we want to be careful with adding too many spices because then that can detract and overstimulate the palate. And we should enjoy the subtleness of the simplicity of the few ingredients. So this has a completely different color now. So I've set my turmeric and my tiger cup here to the side. And over here I have my next cup ready for the ginger nutmeg experience. So mine's getting pretty hot. And starting to froth a little bit, just stirring it. And again, being careful not to burn. And so while I recommend, the measures that I said with regard to the spices, you can adjust them. You might say, no, I like a little bit more. I would like a little more. So I'm going to dump now. I should have probably shown you for the picture. I don't know if you can see it, but this is much whiter. A slightly little bit of brown. You probably can't because I'd have to tilt the screen. Let me see if I can do that. But now we can see here. Just a beautiful color, nice and white. So it's almost like white with a little bit of cream, maybe a little cream color.
Yes.
And so here again, you have these two beautiful colors. And I say, oh, let me taste this. Now, again, I have the option of honey if I choose. So, oh, but that is, I think that's quite heavenly just as it is. But why not? Let me try a little honey. You know, we're experimenting, so why not? Every day is different. It's cold out. I haven't made this year yet, so this is my first time this year. I think I'll do a little less honey in this one. And I'm stirring the honey now, just to get it to be where I think it should be. It's not just sitting on the bottom as a big lump. Let's test this one. Ah. So now you can check out which one do you prefer.
I like them both.
You like them both. I know, isn't that sort of?
So the first one, the turmeric one, I messed up on because as I was getting my stuff ready, I didn't hear the ingredients, so I just dumped all the ingredients in there.
Oh, you put all three in.
I put all three in, and
Oh,
the
well, there
turmeric
you
one,
go.
I have all three, and it's really good. I really like the turmeric one.
So do it. So it's fine to incorporate the three of them because they actually can be used together. As I said, you just, if you started wanting to add 5 or 7 spices, then you're kind of overwhelmed and you don't really need to do it. But the first one is just turmeric, in my case, just turmeric and honey. And I love the simplicity of it. And it has, if you think of the coating on the tongue, and then like the swallowing as it goes down. The aromatic nature of the nutmeg is so strong. And that brings out the whole seasonal dimension, the festivities. And then to accompany this, as they said, you could have some walnuts, or you could have some dates, or you could make, I think perhaps next week, I'm going to do the Ojas balls. And those are these combinations of the almond and the orange and the date and the cardamom and some Himalayan salt. So it has all of the flavors, all the tastes present, and it's a perfect accompaniment to this. So if you are like, oh, I want to have the perfect after dinner dessert, or even before, I like to actually have the Ojas ball before I start to eat, because as I said earlier, a little bitter helps with the stomach, but so does a little sweet, because it helps to get the saliva flowing in the mouth with the sweetness, and then that works its way down for the digestive benefit. And then the bitter in the belly helps with it once it gets there. So here, we kind of covered the bases with these two, just a beverage, an amazing beverage for the cold, for the fall, winter season. So any thoughts, any questions?
The turmeric, it just kind of feels like I guess there's more of a spice to it. So it's more, I would say it's more of a warming feeling.
Yes, the turmeric can be more warming. However, with that said, ginger, the dried ginger, is actually maybe even hotter. So maybe when we think about
because I mixed
warming as
turmeric.
heat, and I'll turn the fan off now. And then we have the nutmeg, which just is also a warming herb, but it has this aroma, and it's just kind of inviting along those lines. But just think about, you're getting a boost to the nervous system, a boost to the digestive tract, a boost to your immunity through having this. And so with that said, that jing, that ojas that's inside of you, that life force being invigorated. And so just something simple. And keeping in mind, this season when we have a tendency to, indulge sometimes too much in some of the heavy and sweet foods. And so you can say, oh, but if I have something like this, it actually will help to balance out things because it aids the digestive piece. But at the same time, if you have it prior, you might say, oh, I don't feel like eating so much, because it's actually helping with just the belly, making the belly happy and not wanting to have too much put into it.
Yeah.
So the first of the holiday cooking adventures. I can't remember what the name of the program was, but anyway.
Immunity boost, something or another.
Oh yes, Emil. See, well, we touched upon it very nicely. So you'll see, you'll have like this huge sense of, oh, I'm well, I'm healthy. You can tell everybody, oh, I have the simple drink for you. You don't have no alcohol, no caffeine.
Yep.
Nothing. It's just straightforward. Yeah. So are you going to catch the train there at 9 3/4 tonight?
I sure hope so.
Yeah, I think that would be a good train to be on. Off to Hogwarts.
Yeah. Harry Potter's my favorite.
Yeah, I love Harry Potter. Each time I've flown through Heathrow Airport, they've always had a Harry Potter store. And I usually spend a little bit of time in it. I just like looking, because it's much more elaborate than what they find around here.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? Still like the turmeric one, the one that you put all three in, the first one, the best? I mean, you kind of covered the bases with that one. So, but then, as I say, you can do that. And then you could play with some cardamom if you decide to do that sometime, or maybe some cinnamon. And, those are a couple of other interesting ones you can play with and mix. So cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, and nutmeg. Those are kind of, if I was to, play around, those would be the ones I would experiment with this. And then, as I say, you can try coconut milk if you don't like the almond milk so much. I like almond milk with this myself. And as I say, from the standpoint of the benefits, coconut milk clearly has benefits too for hydration and that. But the almond milk, just really a nice dimension for, being tridoshic in nature and the nervous system.
I like that it's tridoshic. I haven't heard that before, and that's really interesting. That is neat. So.
Yeah, and so you think about it in the sense of the folks who are, in the kapha end, where it's things that are heavy and sweet, they gravitate towards. And so while this has the sweetness of the almond, and maybe if you're putting honey in it, the honey, but it has that bitter and the astringencies, which are the things that they need as well. So the beautiful part of that is, it helps you with that, so that you're like, oh, they'll say, oh, I want to have this, and I want to sit down, and I'm not going to get up. But over time, the turmeric and the ginger and the nutmeg will kind of inspire them that they must get up. They may have to go to the washroom at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway. I might not even need to have a dinner now. I can last through tomorrow with these.
Yep. These are really good.
Well, you'll have to test it with your partner and see what she thinks.
Yep. I'm pretty sure she'll like it.
And then we'll do the, as I say, we'll do the Ojus balls as one of the others. And I'm thinking I probably might do some root vegetable piece as well. I quite often like to do the root vegetables as a side dish to go with, you know, one or two others, or make 2 side dishes of root vegetables, and then just have that with as kind of the basis for the meal, with maybe rice, or, you know, I mean, who knows, maybe there's something else you prefer. I will often have some other fresh vegetables. But keeping in mind this time of the year, you don't want to have too many cooling, you know, or cold vegetables. So it's best to get them a little warm, or at least room temperature. But baking the things in the oven. And when I do it, you know, we'll talk about this more the next session, or the next one of the next 2 sessions, is that you know, they're 10 to 12 minutes in the oven. You know, you get these fresh vegetables, and then 10 to 12 minutes. So it might be a beet. You know, I love beet, and you mix that with some thyme and that, or asparagus. I know asparagus is not, you know, we're fortunate enough to get it because the world transportation system. It's more of a spring and a fall item, but nonetheless, asparagus is quite nice. And then as well, so I said beet, that Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts is a very good one too, straightforward. So, you know, and the benefits are amazing from all of them. And you just feel like, oh, I feel so healthy. All right. So anything else before we sign off?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, enjoy the beverage. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks, Michael.
And I look forward to seeing you, you know, and I guess maybe Sunday.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
Michael.
you.
See you later. Thank you.
Have a lovely night. Bye-bye.
Bye.